It's no longer news that Express Entry is the easiest and the fastest way to become a permanent resident in Canada, and even from outside of Canada. But looking at the trend lately in terms of the cutoff score, you too can agree with me that it's almost unachievable to get ITA, and that is why I am bringing this video. So if you have been in the Express Entry pool maybe for 8 months, 1 year, and you are not getting ITA, then you should know that it's time for you to boost your score. So if this video sounds like what you love, kindly watch it to the end. If you are new to this channel, you are most welcome and I greet you according to your time. If you are a returning subscriber, I always do appreciate you. Thanks for the support. I'm not taking it for granted at all. Without any further ado, let's dive into the video. The Federal Express Entry System has 3 categories. We have the Federal Skilled Workers Program, we have the Canadian Experience Class, we also have the Federal Skilled Trades Program. So if you are in the Express Entry pool or you are planning to be in the pool, then you should fall into one of these categories. So like I said earlier, you need a high CRS score to be able to get ITA. But looking at the trend these days, it's not easy to achieve that. The highest maybe you can achieve is like maybe 480, at most 500. Let's say you have your PhD, you have high IELTS score, and that won't give you ITA. If you don't know what ITA means invitation to apply. It is when you get that mail or that letter of invitation to apply, that is when you can now apply for your permanent residency. Yeah, so that's aside. So if you have been in the pool for more than a year, don't forget that you will lose 5 points for that, because chances are that you must have marked your birthday. So for every time you mark your birthday, you lose 5 points. So let's even analyze it. You are not having enough CRS score and you are still losing 5 points. You can see that it's funny. So it means when you create your Express Entry profile or when you're in the pool, you need to act fast. If you don't get enough CRS score, what should come to your mind is, how can this score increase? How can I boost this score? So there are different ways you can boost your score. I think I have that video on this channel. But in case you haven't watched that video, maybe I will just do a little summary about how you can boost your score in the Express Entry pool. So first is being bilingual. When I say bilingual, you understand French and English. Most persons do more of English, but let's assume you already had like 480 something in the Express Entry pool, and looking at the current trend where you have to get, say, maybe 540, 540 something, then maybe adding like 50 won't be bad. So if you are bilingual and you do French exam and you pass it well, that could add like 50 points to your score in the Express Entry pool. Yeah, so being bilingual can help boost your score. Then again, PMP, going through PMP routes can also boost your score in the Express Entry pool. You guys know that if you get nominated by a province, you will get 600 points, okay, for being nominated. That is after accepting it. It's one thing to get nominated. It's another thing to accept it so that it can reflect in your profile. Yeah, most persons don't say that. They will just say, when you get nominated, you get 600 points. No, fine, you get 600 points, but it has to be accepted, because they will ask you to accept. If you mistakenly reject it, then you've rejected it. I know of a friend that mistakenly rejected it. It was not intentional, but I believe he was able to sort it out. So getting nominated by province can actually help boost your score. For example, let's say you already had 350 or 380 something as your CRS score, and luckily you got nomination. So let's say 358 or something plus 600, that's about 900 and something. Why won't you get ITA with that kind of score? So you have the French, being bilingual, being nominated, and having a valid job offer. In fact, that brings me to the business of today. Having a valid job offer can help boost your score in the Express Entry pool, and this gives you 200 points. So now the question is, what is a valid job? How do you get a valid job from inside of Canada, from outside of Canada? I will always say from inside of Canada because there are some people that came into Canada as visitors that are also looking for a way to become permanent resident. So both from inside or outside of Canada, how do you get a job? A valid job that yes, IRCC would recognize it that yes, this person has a valid job. Because, for example, if you manage to get say 350 or 370 in your as your CRS score, adding 200 is about 570. So that should give you ITA. But don't also forget that there is usually a quota of, when I say quota, that is number of applicants that are being selected, and it's like a game of survival of the fittest. So if you have 570 as your CRS score, which can, yeah, on a normal day give you ITA, and there is also somebody else in the pool that has 900 and something. Looking at it, you will see that that one that has 900 and something will be selected first before you. That is how the system works. So the pool has different applicants with different ways they are boosting their scores. So they will select the top ones, the top ranked ones, before selecting the lower, the ones with lower CRS score. So in most cases, even if you think you have a high CRS score, you may not even be selected. I don't know if I'm making sense. You may not be selected, not because you don't have high score. They've selected the top ones, and probably they just need 2,000 people. And they were able to get their 2,000 people. Maybe you are like the 2001 person. They've taken their own. So the next thing is for you to be hoping to be selected in the next draw. Hope you get. So if you have someone that has 900 plus in the pool and you have someone that has 500 plus in the pool, the one with the higher score will be selected first. So if maybe IRCC changes their mind that, oh, we should select 3,000 applicants or 3,000 persons, then maybe you will now join. I just hope I'm making sense, but I believe you understand what I'm talking about. So like I said, the reason for today's video is how to get a valid job offer. Having a job offer will actually help increase your score or increase your chances of being selected for ITA. So I will be going to their site as usual to read this out for you, and I will want you to pay very good attention to this part of this video. It is not easy to get a job from outside of Canada. I'm being realistic now. It is not easy at all. Those that live in Canada are not finding it easy too to get jobs, let alone those that live outside of Canada. But then it's possible. So let me quickly chip this in. If you are looking for a job from outside of Canada or even inside of Canada, and you haven't created your job bank yet or you've not signed up yet, please do, because that is where most employers put their job adverts. So job bank, I will even leave the link in the description box, okay? So that aside, now IRCC is saying you should have a valid job offer. So when they say you should have a valid job offer, what is the description of a valid job offer? Is it jobs with LMIA or jobs without LMIA? You know, recently they also came up with an update on this innovation stream. If you watched my last video, you understand what I'm talking about, where they said you can apply for jobs from outside or inside of Canada, and LMIA is not required. So that's IRCC bringing up the update. And now they're also saying valid job offer. So in a nutshell, both jobs with LMIA and jobs without LMIA, I think, fall into this category now, because job offer is job offer. Valid is what we should now, talk about. So I'll just be reading out some things so you will know where you belong. The kind of job that could be required for Canadian Experience Class may not be the job or the kind of job needed for Federal Skilled Trades Program. You see, when they are talking about valid job offer or job offer, it involves, should I say 2 parties or 3 parties? When I say 3 parties, IRCC, employers, employees. Yes, when employers and employees have come to a compromise, IRCC will then give the final say. So that's why I said 3 parties. However, receiving a genuine job offer through express entry can increase your CRS points and increase your chances of receiving ITE. I think we have established that before. Offer of employment for federal skilled workers and Canadian experience classes under express entry. So they are combining these two. It says for an offer of employment to be valid, it must be provided by a single employer. So if you are under the Canadian experience class, that's the CEC or federal skilled worker FSW, you should have a job or an employment offer that is provided by a single employer. It has to be continuous and must be paid. Then it has to be full-time, at least 30 hours a week. The employment offer should not be seasonal. Then it has to be valid for at least 1 year after you have your visa for permanent residence. Then the job role, that is when you're talking about the NOC, has to be under tier 0, 1, 2, and 3. You know, in my last video, I also talked about having skilled job. So if your NOC falls into or falls under tier 0, 1, 2, 3, then it shows you are skilled. Yeah. So those are the requirements for those that fall under the FSW and CEC. So these are additional prerequisites. An employer must extend a job offer along with a brand new positive LMIA that verifies the offer in your name and your position. So also looking at this, these two categories need you to have a job with LMIA. Alternatively, you must have a valid LMIA-based work visa. I just said that, and be employed in Canada in tier 0, 1, 2, or 3. That is also known as NOC 0A or B rule. Or you must have a valid LMI exempt work permit. So it's two. It's two now. So either you have a job offer with LMI or a valid LMI exempt work permit for tier 0, 1, 2, or 3. So if you don't understand this particular point, you can check my last video so that you will know what this is talking about. So that way you'll be able to get work permits. So now let's go to the requirements for FST, that's Federal Skilled Trades Program. So this is for those that are not highly skilled. One thing with Canada is that they have room for everybody. Either you are skilled, semi-skilled, or unskilled. So if you are not highly skilled, maybe you just had up to like secondary school education, you didn't go to higher institution, or maybe you have diploma, then you I believe you fall under this FST. Those that go to learn trade, maybe sewing, baking, and you have certificate to back it up. You know, it's more than just saying you study trade. You have to do it in a recognized institution or a recognized college. I don't know, but that's to really show that you are under this category. So the requirement for this is that your employment offer must fulfill the following conditions in order for it to be considered acceptable. A job offer could come from two employers. You know, for the first two I read is from your job offer must come from a single employer. But if you fall under FST, your job offer could come from two employers, must be ongoing, full-time, paid, and require at least 30 hours per week. The commitment should be for a minimum of 1 year in a skilled trade, which includes positions with 2016 NOC codes, starting with 72, 73, 82, 92, and 632 and 633. To know where your NOC falls into, you need to go to IRCC website, type NOC, and this page will pop up. You can see the various tiers that we have. Then you go to NOC website, click on it. It will also bring out another page. So from the updates, they specified version 2016. This replaced the version 2011. So as you can see, I just replaced the version and I'm going to be typing one trade like sewing. So when I enter it, it's going to bring out those codes like this 73, 74, and the rest. So just take a look at it. You see this 7311 is a trade, 74 is a trade, 76 is a trade, 92 is a trade, like that. So that is how you know your trade, and you can also see the level of education you should have. You see these knock codes, you really need to go through them. Most applications are deemed ineligible because of wrong knock codes. Some are probably rejected. So you really need to go through this code so you will know the one that suits your skills or something. The following are the additional prerequisites for this FST. So employers who have a new positive LMIA approving the offer and listing you and your position should be the ones making the employment offer. So it's self-explained. You shouldn't get employment offer from an employer that didn't list the job. Or you must be a skilled tradesperson working in Canada with a work permit that the LMIA has recognized. Or if you are applying for one of the skilled trade jobs which do not require an LMIA and you have a valid work visa. IRCC also went ahead to explain the difference between legitimate employment offers and fraudulent employment offers. See, there are scammers everywhere. If you know, you know. So they are just trying to tell you how you can differentiate them. So they gave an example here that first, two companies employ a heavy equipment operator. The LMIA covers both employers. A minimum of 1 year's labor or 16 hours per week is offered by each business. So this is a legitimate employment offer. While on the other hand, a non-contractual construction company employs a plumber for 25 hours a week. That is not a valid job offer because it is less than the required 30 hours per week or 40 hours per week. So let's look at the jobs for which an LMIA is not required. So there are only two reasons why the employer that made you the offer does not need a new LMIA. So the first is that if you're already working for an employer on an LMIA-based work permit, or your job does not require an LMIA, if your employer needs to get a new LMIA, that is, if your work permit is expired or you are working on an open work permit, the job offer you have is from an employer who is not listed on your work permit. So now, how can you add a new job offer to your Express Entry profile? Because let's be positive now. Let's assume last you got a job offer. How can you then add it to your Express Entry profile so that your score will increase? So as soon as you find out that your offer is still good or you receive another one, be sure you update your Express Entry profile. There's always a place where to ask you, do you have a valid job offer from Canada? Then if you do, you need to, update it. What should your Express Entry job offer include? So it should include a new or recent job offer that is not older than a year. Then a written job offer is required. This job shouldn't come from a Canadian High Commission or embassy or consulate. Then provide information about the job, including the job duties, the pay, the deductions, the working hours, and the working terms. So that's the updates. We have established that a valid job offer is required to boost your CRS score in the Express Entry pool so that your chances of getting ITA will be high. So I believe this video has been helpful. If you did enjoy this video, kindly give it a thumbs up. And for those that recently subscribed to this channel, I am really grateful. May God bless you. If you are yet to subscribe to this channel, please do. Don't forget to like, share, and comment on this video. See you all in my next one. Bye.